Hi guys and welcome back. Today we're going to explore the concept of age and how old I actually am, I guess. This video is about painting a oldhammer miniature. You know, the neck beard stuff things that people talk about. We're not all neckbeards, but yeah, this is about painting a older miniature. Because I saw a video from, I think it was Anvil of Doom here on YouTube, that talked about the Olden Demon competition, and that's also a nice channel, so you can check both of those guys out. And I just felt like, yeah, well, I wanted to enter last year, but I missed it, so why not take the chance and do it this year? So I picked an old model that I found in my collection that I've had ever since it was released, and this is gonna age me very badly, I guess. This model turns 30, I think, in September or October this year, and it's from the second starter box during my tenure as a hobbyist in this hobby, because I started in 4th and this model came out in the 5th edition of Warhammer Fantasy. And I am, of course, talking about the amazing Skink, of course, the most basic Skink. This guy came out in 1996. He's fully plastic, and I have just base coated him and zenithal highlighted him, and now I am going over, sort of wet blending, a purple and a pink onto his body. The purple is going into the lower parts and the pink mostly into the upper parts. This is gonna be our sort of flavorful base layer of the model. That's a great way of saying it. I didn't know what to do when I painted this guy. Fun fact, I have never, in my 33 or so years as a miniature painter, painted any lizardmen. None. Not Seraphon, not the lizardmen, nothing. I haven't painted any Saurus or any Skinks or anything. So this is actually a first. A first that is like 30 years in the making. That's kind of embarrassing. But here we are, and I'm gonna give this guy sort of a very fast, okay paint job, I guess. I just wanted to enter something into the Olden Demon to see, I don't know, if I can end up anywhere. I probably won't. This is not gonna be good enough to win any competitions, I think. But it's always fun to enter and see where you stand, and always fun to see all the winners. So this is more for personal pleasure than competitive painting, I guess. And adding all this color to give it more interest is something that I've actually started doing rather lately, because I used to do more of a simple keep it in the, if it's a green thing, it's going to go from dark green to a light green. Perhaps I do a blue in the beginning, but nowadays I try to do more different gradients between colors, and that's a lot more fun for me personally to paint, and also a lot more fun perhaps to watch, to look at it, because it gives you sort of I don't know, an incentive to explore it more, if you want to sound like you're creepy and probably should be on a list somewhere. And while we're on fun parts, this miniature is very, very tiny. It has very, very soft details because it was produced over 30 years ago, and the technique back then was not as good as it is today. So I will have to be cheating a little bit here. Parts of this model aren't even detailed, like his left side chest, there's nothing there. Because that's the limitations of plastic back then. Now the base coat has dried, so we're going in with a turquoise. I think this is some of the turquoise colors I have, and we're just going to do sort of a glaze feathering technique, where we use the thinness of the color to create some sort of gradient from the color underneath it, but at the same time we're feathering it which is a fun technique that we used to learn all about in the 90s, because it was epically awesomeness, I guess. But I felt sort of like the right thing to do with this model. So I'm kind of thinking, like, should I keep it in the old things, the old styles that we did back in the day, or should I upgrade it? So I kind of figured out, let's do like a 50-50. Let's do the old techniques, but with a new flair to it. And as we're going over here, as this color is very diluted, it's going to need a couple of layers to actually make it pop, to actually get it to be turquoise and not a sort of a offshoot of a gray, because that's not what we want. We want this miniature to be very, very pop. Like, it's going to look like bubblegum, I guess. But don't step on it or chew it, because it's probably poisonous and will kill you. And we're just going all over the miniature. We're leaving the pinks and purples in the recesses to use them as the shade color, and all the while just looking for that nice turquoise covering finish that we want. And this takes a couple of layers, and then you get this. Look at that nice purple and the pinks and also the turquoise. What do we do now? Of course, we just go in with a lighter, very, very light turquoisey-ish color, off-white turquoise, I guess. And we do the same thing again, just covering less space on the miniature. Making sure to end up with the lightest highlights at the top of whatever we are painting, like on the tail here and the wrinkles on his sort of where the tail meets the butt. We keep the brightest highlights at the very, very top, and we make sure that we pull them as close as we can to the next sort of object that might be there. On his tail, that would be the cougar, and on his buttocks here, it is the sort of strap for the cougar. We just go almost all the way up. We leave a little bit of a recess to show that there's a differentiation between them, but we try to get it as close and as tight as possible. Now we've done that all over the miniature again. Look, it's magic. I snap my fingers and all of a sudden it's all painted. Wouldn't that be nice if that was the case every single time? It would just keep it so much easier. Now we're going to paint the stomach scales, and I did cheat here. You're not going to see the end of this because it was very, very tiny. And you're going to see me like throw this miniature around a lot to get to the tiny parts. But I'm just going in here with a sort of beige color. It's a very standard yellowish beige, and I'm going to highlight that with a off-white beige color. It's pretty simple. These parts are very, very tiny. Make sure to leave the purple and pinks in the recesses as before, because they are going to give that sort of look that there's bigger stomach scales and not just some soft white underbelly thing. The sheeting that I was talking about is that I actually finished them off camera. Because they're so tiny and it's so hard to see what I'm doing with the camera. Like, if you could see my setup, you would probably understand better, but I'm not sitting in a very weird position looking underneath my camera to get to these parts, and that just makes it impossible. So I finished them off, and then I also accidentally glazed them with a purple color. That's why they are not true yellowish beige at the end of this. But you guys can probably figure out how to do that by yourselves. You don't need me. You're probably better at it than I am by now, which says a lot about my painting progression over these 30 plus years. I haven't really developed very much since at least like 2004 or something, which is kind of embarrassing, but hey, that's what life is, I guess. So you guys nowadays, you have a great position. Like a lot of good painters out there are making videos and tutorials and showing you all the stuff that we didn't get to see back then, because we didn't know how to do things. We just figured it out by ourselves mostly, and by asking our friends and other people. And I was lucky enough to have a lot of good painters around me in the early 2000s. And now I base coated all the other details on the model off camera, because I just wanted to get that out of the way to see sort of where we're heading, what's going on, is this gonna work in any way, and what colors should I use on the rest of these details to not sort of muddy it up too much. And I decided to have the sort of sash that runs across the cougar, and also his mohawk thing there. I wanted to have them red, so I base coated them in a dark purple, and now I'm just going over them with a pure red color, glazing it to keep some of that vibrant purple color in the shadows, while still getting a very, very red color. I've been doing this in some other videos as well, like in my first video here on YouTube when I painted the Necromunda guy, Ossie. I did the same sort of red on him. If you want to have a bigger explanation of how I did it, and a bigger thing to look at while I do it, because these parts are kind of small. By glazing it over there, we're not gonna, there's no desaturation going on. It's gonna be very, very, very red and very purple, and a lot more color, and interesting colors as well, than just putting a red and a red and a red. We're gonna have a purple in the bottom, we're gonna have a pure red, and I also do think I did a slight highlight on the edges off camera with sunny skin tone mixed into the red to get that sort of a peachy color that is neither orange nor pink. And I really like that combination on the reds, because it makes it look extremely red. I don't know any other way to describe it, but it looks red in a very nice way. And the red is also, I chose this color because it's a perfect contrast to that very, very cold turquoise color that we have on the skin, and also what came out of the stomach scales, that they are kind of a cold-ish color after the glaze. And since I was also looking at, like, I'm not going to put a brown into the leathers of the cougar and the straps, because that would make it look sort of like the recesses, which are kind of a, yeah, the pink color would sort of mess it up, I guess. So I wanted to put a neutral color on that, so I did a neutral color on the cougar and the leathers. So I needed this warm color to give me that sort of contrast, and also the interplay between the colors. If I made this, if it actually worked, please tell me in the comments. If it didn't, just scream at me, shout at me, do whatever you want. And I guess this is a good point as any as to ask you if you would like to subscribe or stuff like that. That is always appreciated, of course. If you don't, well, at least you watched the video, which is also very, very nice of you. Thank you. And as you can see, this takes a lot of layers before it gets to be red. And you really want to build those layers up. You don't want to stress this, because if you do, it's going to be too big of a jump color-wise. So just keep it going with that diluted red color to get that sort of very nice saturation that we want for this to work. And here I've cheated a little bit, and you can see that I painted the straps and the cougar. They are neutral gray, it's nothing fancy. And we're doing the bow. And the bow is basically just a brown color. And then I added some, I think it was sunny skin tone, or perhaps like a pearly elf flesh color to highlight it. It's nothing fancy. I'm doing some sort of striations to sort of make it look like wood, but because of the positioning of the bow and also how small everything is, that was very, very hard to do properly, but I think it came out just okay. And you can see me here trying very, very hard, I promise, trying to get those sort of wood texture striation things going, but I'm kind of messing it up as I go along, but it looks fine. This might not be the perfect competition piece, but it's all for good fun anyways, and I hope whoever wins can look at this and laugh at it at least. Oh man, getting to that part of the bow on the inside of his legs from this side is really tough, because I don't want to mess with the other colors. I don't want to redo any of them just because I messed it all up and just, you know, missed the mark because I'm not good enough. And while we're talking about being good enough, if I had painted a skink like this 30 years ago, it would have been amazing. People would have loved this. It was a lot easier 30 years ago to be an amazing painter, even though some of the best painters back then were amazing. Truly, I'm not putting them down in any way. They were awesome. But 30 years ago, had I done an army like this, that would have been insane. Had I done an army 30 years ago, it was just like being the hobby butterfly that I still am. But back then I just jumped around and I bought miniatures, and I usually didn't finish off the armies because I painted mostly for competition back then, or for like showing off like one unit of something to just show my friends and impress them. And that is not the case today. Well, by the way, we're doing a sort of NMM thing to the dagger here. I painted it green as a base layer, and now I'm just going over it with a warm darkish brown that I always talk about, and I never remember the name of it. It's a Vallejo color, it's amazing. And then I'm just adding a little bit of sunny skin tone, and finally a neutral gray for the last highlights to this. Did I manage to make it look like metal? No, not really. It's so small. That thing is like millimeters, but it's different than the other parts that surrounds it, so it could be metal, it could be just a leather sheath for a dagger, I guess. When this box actually did come out, I was playing, I think I was playing Orcs and Goblins at that time, and Skaven. But mostly Orcs and Goblins. And I remember one of my Snotling bases actually beating my friend's Savage Orc Warboss, like his lord, on a warboard with a lot of magic items and stuff. And they just stood their ground and killed him in like one turn of battle. And that was like, those are the memories that I will forever remember. Things like that really don't happen today, because the 5th edition was the epitome of hero hammer. So your heroes were the massive, legendary creatures of awesomeness. You could like really make them like these insane stories in themselves. So when things happened, it tended to be very epic in a lot of ways. I wouldn't say that 5th edition is the best edition, but the feeling of the hero like destroying an entire army hasn't been really repeated since, which is sort of good in ways, because we still want infantry to matter, which it pretty much did in 5th edition. They remedied that for the 6th edition though, and we're kind of happy for that. But it was the edition for big, ridiculous heroing, I guess. And I really liked it. It's the 2nd edition of fantasy that I played, so I have fond memories from this. And soon we will be coming to an end of the painting of this miniature, and as you can see, I also managed to miss painting the feathered parts of his arrows, but I just went in with a sort of white color to do that off camera before I also put, well, you're gonna see it. It's the weirdest thing ever, I guess, because we are gonna base this guy. And how do you base an oldhammer miniature? You of course use oldhammer flock, and I still have a jar of oldhammer flock from like at least 25 years ago. I should have painted the base green before I did this. I remembered that when it had all dried and I could see stuff of it between everything. But it's just PVA glue, and I'm gonna drop the miniature into the jar to get the flock on there. That is the way at least me and my group back in the day did it, and I think a lot of people did it this way. It's, yeah, here, touching up stuff. This is very much giving me a callback to what it was like earlier, at earlier editions. And here he is. You see that guy? He's spinning. This looks very weird because I'm very not good at spinning things like this, and I was trying to get a good video of this, but it's not easy. I have no idea what I'm doing with the camera, really. I'm not a photographer, as you can see. I'm not even a YouTuber, as you can hear. But here we are. We have once again reached the end of the video. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want to. Comment everything, I read it all. And thank you. Goodbye.